Good morning, dear viewers. While the freedom of the open road is priceless, the reality of maintaining any motorcycle can be challenging. A machine like the BMW R1250 GS often meets a significant hurdle: the economy of riding. Between rising fuel costs, the high price of premium tires, and routine maintenance, the financial aspect of motorcycling can become its own major obstacle. To keep the adventure sustainable, a rider must evolve from simply being fast to being efficient. Mastering the art of riding economically is not just about saving a few dollars at the pump. It's about understanding your bike's mechanical sweet spot, that perfect intersection of speed and RPM where performance meets preservation. Now that we have established that economic riding is essential for long-term ownership, let's look at how finding that specific balance on your GS1250 actually works to your advantage. For a rider dealing with unpredictable infrastructure and varying fuel quality, finding this zone protects your wallet and your safety simultaneously. To help you understand the impact of riding in that sweet spot, let's look at the numbers. On a BMW R1250 GS, the difference between aggressive riding and economic riding is dramatic when calculated over a year. Here is a breakdown of your potential savings in the US dollars. Here a comparison between sweet spot versus high-speed riding in annual savings. Assuming a typical annual distance of 10,000 kilometers, 6,200 miles, and the current fuel maintenance costs. Just to note, I ride between 30 and 40,000 kilometers. So we are comparing fuel costs, tire replacement, brake pads fluids, and mechanical wear only. There is some other costs too. That's $385, almost $400 per year. For me, that's 3 to 4 times, almost $1,500. Why is the economy the biggest obstacle? In many parts of the world, the upfront cost of a BMW GS1250 is just the beginning. The running costs are what stop many riders from enjoying the bike every day. Fuel paradox. Even though fuel in many countries is relatively inexpensive, a GS1250 has a large 20 to 30 liters tank. Wasteful riding at 130 kilometers plus can cut your range by 150 kilometers per tank. Over a month of commuting, that's several free tanks of gas lost to the wind. The tire trap. High-speed touring on hot tarmac cooks the rubber. Riding in the sweet spot keeps the tire temperature stable, meaning you aren't replacing a $300 rear tire every few months. Hidden safety. Riding economically keeps you at a speed where you can react. One avoided fender bender, a dropped bike saves you $1,000 or more in plastic fairings and engine guards. Learning to ride economically isn't just about being slow, it's about being efficient. By staying in that 2,700 to 3,500 RPM range, you are essentially giving yourself a $400 annual bonus to spend on gear, better oil, or your next big trip. For a motorcycle like the BMW R1250 GS, the sweet spot for fuel consumption is typically found between 90 kilometers per hour and 100 kilometers per hour. That's 55 to 62 miles per hour. in sixth gear. While the 1250 GS is a powerhouse, in its aerodynamics, often described as having the drag of a brick, mean that fuel economy drops significantly once you fight high wind resistance at highway speeds. Here is the fuel economy breakdown. Based on technical data and real-world rider testing, here is how speed affects the 1250 GS. In this table, we have the speed ranges, three ranges from 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, from 110 to 120, and above 130 kilometers per hour. In the first range, you have optimal balance of engine efficiency and low wind drag. The second, standard cruising, the shift cap technology keeps the engine efficient here. The 1250 engine uses variable valve timing. At lower speeds and partial throttle, below 5,000 RPM, it uses a load-optimized cam profile specifically designed for fuel economy. Staying in this range is key. Because of the upright riding position and the large front big windshield, the GS works much harder to maintain speed above 110 km per hour. If you have large aluminum panniers boxes attached, your consumption will increase by another 10 to 15% at high speeds. For the best economy, aim to keep the engine between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM without lugging the engine below 2,500 in high gears, which can actually hurt the efficiency and put stress on the drivetrain. Maintaining that 90 to 100 kilometers per hour range not only saves fuel but also gives you a much better reaction buffer to spot infrastructure hazards or vehicles cutting in without blinkers. Actually, the sweet spot is arguably the healthiest way to ride for almost every part of your motorcycle. On a bike like the BMW R1250 GS, riding at that 90 to 100 kilometers per hour or 55 to 62 miles per hour, efficiency range does much more than just save you money at the pump. At this speed in sixth gear, the 1250 Boxer engine is spinning at roughly 3,000 to 3,500 RPM. The oil pump is spinning fast enough to provide maximum pressure and cooling to the cylinders. You aren't lugging the engine riding at too low RPM, which can damage bearings, nor are you screaming at high RPMs, which increases internal friction and heat. You are safely on the efficiency cam profile, meaning less mechanical wear on the valve train compared to the aggressive high-lift cam used at high speeds. Tires generate heat through friction. At 140 kilometers per hour, the rubber gets significantly hotter and wears down much faster than at 90 kilometers per hour. Staying in the sweet spot can extend your tire life by 20 to 30%. Since you aren't fighting high momentum, you will find yourself using engine braking more naturally. This reduces the heat and glazing on your brake pads and rotors. The force of hitting a pad hole or a cliff edge of tarmac increases exponentially with speed. At 90 kilometers per hour, your GS tele-lever or parallel-lever suspension can soak up an impact that might bend a rim or blow a seal at 130 kilometers per hour. Riding a GS 1250 at 100 kilometers per hour is incredibly relaxing. The aerodynamics of the GS create a bubble of calm air at this speed, go faster, and the wind noise and buffeting increase, which causes ear fatigue and neck strain. At the fuel-efficient speed, your stopping distance is nearly half of what it's at 130 kilometers per hour. This table compares sweet spot versus high speed to fuel tank range, tire wear, vibration, chain shaft stress, and safety buffer. And you see the results here on the table. To summarize, riding in the sweet spot is like preventative maintenance while you ride. It keeps the engine in its most efficient thermal cycle, protects your tires from overheating, and most importantly, keeps you alert enough to handle those unpredictable road hazards. On my BMW R1250 GS, and from my own riding experience, I noticed that the shift point given as the instruction to change gear to the upper one on the TFT recommended by BMW coincides with an RPM of 2,700. Since I am a light person, when I have passenger or heavily loaded, I goes up to 3,100 or more. I understood where the sweet spot was. The computer calculates shift points based on engine load. Since you are lightweight, the engine doesn't have to work as hard to move the bike forward. For a heavier load, the engine would feel strained at 2,700 RPM in a high gear, so the computer might wait until 3,200 RPM to suggest a shift. That analysis is valid in flat terrain or descent. Obviously, if you are climbing a steep hill or need to quickly overtake a vehicle, you should ignore the prompt and let the RPM climb to 4,000 to 5,000 to have more torque. Shifting too early while going uphill can cause logging, which puts stress on the crankshaft. This is another short summary for the GS 1250. You have three ranges. The first one is for economy or commuting, second for standard or touring, and dynamic overtooling the third one. And you can see which one fits you better. I hope you find this video useful. If you love the extreme sensation of speed like I do, and you can afford it, disregard this video and go for it. If you are careful about your wallet and you want to ride longer, I think you have the advice. In any circumstances, I wish you a safe riding and thanks for watching.